In the early 17th century, British ships arrived on India's shores. They were led by the British East India Company, a trading corporation with one mission: to seize control of the region's wealth. What began as a business venture would transform into one of the most dramatic episodes in world history: the British colonization of India. Over the next 300 years, this relationship would redefine India's economy, culture, and identity. The British East India Company arrived in India during the reign of the powerful Mughal Empire, which controlled vast territories and boasted a thriving economy. The company initially sought trade privileges, exchanging goods like spices, textiles, and saltpeter for European silver. India's economy, driven by advanced industries and intricate trade networks, became the perfect target for British ambitions. But as the Mughal Empire began to decline in the 18th century, the British saw an opportunity to expand their influence. Through a combination of military force and cunning diplomacy, the company gained control over key territories, starting with Bengal after their victory in the Battle of Plassey in 1757. The British East India Company's ambitions went far beyond trade. They systematically reshaped India's economy to serve British interests. Indian artisans, once celebrated for their fine craftsmanship, saw their industries dismantled. British policies flooded the Indian market with cheaply manufactured textiles, destroying local livelihoods. Meanwhile, Indian farmers bore the brunt of exploitative taxation systems like the Permanent Settlement of Bengal. Designed to ensure steady revenue for the company, these taxes left millions of farmers in poverty and caused widespread famine. The resources extracted from India fueled Britain's Industrial Revolution, but at a devastating cost to its people. As British control expanded, so did their efforts to reshape Indian society. They replaced traditional governance structures with their own administrative systems. Local rulers were reduced to figureheads, while British officials and zamindars exercised real power. The British also introduced Western-style education, creating a new class of Indian elites fluent in English and British ideals. These individuals would later play a crucial role in India's independence movement, but at the time their rise symbolized the erosion of India's indigenous institutions. The cultural impact of British rule was profound. Missionaries sought to convert Indians to Christianity, often dismissing local practices as pagan or uncivilized. Indigenous knowledge systems were sidelined, and Indian history was rewritten through a colonial lens. Yet despite these disruptions, Indian culture proved resilient. Festivals like Diwali and Holi continued, often blending traditional practices with colonial influences. Architectural landmarks such as the Gateway of India stand as a testament to this complex cultural exchange, blending Western and Indian styles. Resistance to British rule was a constant undercurrent throughout colonization. The Sepoy Mutiny of 1857 marked India's first major rebellion, as soldiers rose against British officers over cultural and economic grievances. By the 20th century, leaders like Mahatma Gandhi transformed resistance into a mass movement. Through non-violent protests like the Salt March and civil disobedience campaigns, Gandhi united millions in the struggle for independence. The British, facing growing pressure both in India and abroad, found their grip slipping. India's story was deeply tied to global events. During both world wars, over 2.5 million Indian soldiers fought for Britain, even as their homeland remained colonized. But the end of World War II marked a turning point. Weakened by the war and faced with growing unrest, Britain finally granted India independence in 1947. The partition of India, however, came at a terrible cost. The subcontinent was divided into India and Pakistan, displacing over 15 million people and leading to one of the largest human migrations in history. Violence and loss marred the joy of independence, leaving scars that persist to this day. From the bustling courts of the Mughals to the vibrant streets of modern India, the story of British colonization is one of resilience and transformation. It's a reminder of the cost of empire and the enduring spirit of a nation that reclaimed its destiny.